how are we not at the beginning of the greatest bull market of all time? Let me tie back to the point I was trying to make too. Like this, you were talking about Moody's, the downgrade on Friday, right? The market don't give a shit. We're green.
Nope.
Okay. How is this not the beginning of the greatest bull market of all time? Do not invest on what I'm saying at all. This is not financial market advice. I'm just talking about my feelings. This is just deep in my nether region, let's say. Okay. I just feel it. There's something going on. Okay. Am I stupid? Help me understand what I'm feeling.
No, you're right, and it's why I've continued to invest in NVIDIA, because the controversial investment on NVIDIA right now is that they are cyclical. They are like Cisco. They're building out the pipelines, but eventually they'll be done. The more evidence that I'm seeing from just lots and lots of sources, anecdotal and data-driven. Jensen had a keynote last night kind of explaining how much more longer this party has to go on for. It means that the infrastructure for the greatest revolution of all time in the history of humans, which was the internet because it connected the entire world, and now AI is accelerating the entire world, is going to be AI, which is also explaining Palantir's multiple. It explains Tesla's multiple. It explains why NVIDIA is able to put up 70% growth still from a freaking $80 billion base. Like, it doesn't make sense, the types of numbers that we're seeing right now. I mean, even ChatGPT, for all the problems people have with Sam Altman, they are nearing 1 billion users. They came out 2 years ago. No product goes from 0 to 1 billion in 2 years. Even Cursor AI, they just raised a $10 billion valuation. They were the fastest startup, even faster than ChatGPT, to get to 100 million users, or 100 million ARR. Now I think they're at 300 million ARR, and they're an AI coding assistant. All they do is help you better code via AI. Like, it kind of blows my brain how sophisticated the LLMs can become. The types of use cases, whether it's robots, self-driving, et cetera. I'm going to Boston on Friday. I'm going to have a full 5-hour FSD road trip, see how the car does. But it's becoming one of those things where it's like, if productivity across every sector, either my personal productivity, because I can work in the car during FSD, or a company's productivity in terms of their margins go up, which means their share price has to go up as a result of their net income margin going up, and their price to earnings ratio is probably going up because they have more earnings per share, then we are in for the greatest bull market of all time. And I don't know when it ends. And when it ends, it might be a bubble that bursts in a crazy way. But I think we've got another 5 to 10 years on this bull market right now.
What are the variables that you're thinking about? And this question could be too early now, because again, from my perspective, it feels extremely early because we don't have humanoid robots that do useful things yet. We don't have maybe O3 in some situations can do extremely tough tasks for you with a 5-minute prompt and just have the result for you, but it's a very narrow domain, right? Agents aren't really ramped up that much. Fully self-driving vehicles where you don't even have to worry about going from point A to point B very cheaply doesn't exist. We still have a giant energy bottleneck to actually power these systems. We have a chip bottleneck for compute, et cetera, okay? Like, I hate to say this, I don't see, this is like the famous last words, I don't see anything in the way to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple in this market outside of some sort of war where literally we don't have access to chips, we don't have access to energy, which keeps us from doing it. And it could become an existential thing, like this Black Swan event where China does invade Taiwan. Like, y'all getting too much power, sorry, fuck you. No access to TSMC. But if you think about how Trump is, again, this what a weird fucking time. How much is Trump trying to, and you talked about this too on your streams, right? How much of Trump doing what he's doing right with the administration is trying to create impossible to overcome economic dependencies between countries so that those wars don't happen, right? Because we are going towards this place where AI will make everything so much better. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I don't even know what I just said. So I don't know if y'all can make any sense of what I just said.
Well, your argument is, outside of a Black Swan event, what stops this train? And I don't think anything stops this train. Quite frankly, the China-Taiwan stuff, NVIDIA has a new headquarters in Taiwan. They announced yesterday, called Constellation. And I think my conspiracy here is that Jensen and Trump said, hey, I'll let you sell chips to the Saudis, but you've got to get a Taiwan headquarters to kind of be a little bit of a hedge against, because if China invades Taiwan, they're invading NVIDIA as well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like, maybe there's some 4D chess going on there, but yeah, I don't see this stopping because these agents are still kind of stupid. They can't book my flight. They can't change my schedule on the meeting. Like they're getting smarter, but they're still pretty stupid, which means when they get really smart, what is that going to look like? The robots, as excited as we are, they still can't really do anything yet, right? We haven't seen them really implement any meaningful tasks for human beings. That's probably about 5 years down the line. The car is incredible. I don't intervene with my Tesla. It's just I can never cancel that $99 subscription. That's there for life because
Dude, you need to just buck up, buy the subscription or the full thing outright right now. If you're planning to keep that car for any long period of time, because that subscription is not going to be $99 a month for much longer. And if you want the premium tier of functionality, you're going to be paying a lot more in subscription fees over the life of that vehicle than you would in just paying the $8,000 today.
So I agree. The one pushback I have against that is that they still don't have pricing power on FSD because most people still don't use it, right?
Well, that's why
I'm not that concerned of the
car, because I got that FSD package for like a $2,500 or $3,000 premium on the used car versus buying the new.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I'm going to have to pay for it eventually. And if I have to keep paying 99, whatever, if I have to pay 8,000, but like, I need it. I need the damn thing because it's so good. And when you make a product that's just so good, like a Palantir, like a Hood, like you just keep using it, right? So I don't think anything stops the train. I think there's new products every single day. Like I'm working on something on Palantir's AIP. I might be launching it later in the year. I'm working with a friend. We're building something. That's all because of AIP. Like there's so many different businesses and startups and new ways of thinking of the world that didn't exist. Just like before the internet, they didn't exist. Now with AI, it's going to hyper accelerate. I am concerned what it means about jobs because maybe businesses don't need that many jobs if they have AI doing everything. But it does mean as shareholders of these companies, we should be able to benefit from the greatest increase in market capitalization over the next decade. And, you know, anyone who's not in the investor class needs to find a way to become an investor. And it's as easy as downloading Robinhood and buying some NVIDIA or buying some Tesla because the future's coming.
Or at least the NASDAQ, something.
Or the NASDAQ.
Yeah. So outside of like to restate what Amit said on your argument, it's outside of a black swan event. How does this thing stop? I would say it doesn't stop outside of a black swan event, but then let's hone in on those black swan events. Like we're doing so much changing so fast that I think black swan events are more likely now than they've been before. And like across a while, like we can think of the couple that we can anticipate, like China invading Taiwan. But I think there's a whole number of other black swan type events that we don't have nearly as much visibility or ability to anticipate because we're changing so many things so quickly on such a grand scale. Like I think that we could break civilization in a number of ways. And there's only, you know, like 2, 3, 4, 5% of the ways that we could break it that we're thinking about. Let's try not to break it in those ways. And so I think that those, like, that's what the real risk is. But that said, I still want to be invested either way. Because like if those black swan events, like I don't know how to prepare for those black swan events other than I would like to participate in the rally between now and then as much as possible. So I have as many resources at my disposal to navigate the black swan events as they arise.
I mean, I will tell you the one that I'm most afraid of, the black swan event, is the hyper aggregation of wealth and capability to a few. So businesses with all the compute, people with all of the self-driving cars, organizations and people with all the robots, right? And then all of a sudden, these people become gods. I hate using that word, but they become significantly more capable than everybody else. And so how will they also gain in those gains? Like so you need a $200 O3 subscription? Maybe it's going to be $2,000 because of how powerful it is. How many people can afford $2,000 a month if they've just been laid off by like a Microsoft or whatever? Because they're like, well, we don't need you anymore. We got the agents now. What about, okay, well, I'm going to go do something physical. The bot can do that now. We're good. That, to me, like that's the bubble. The bubble is the displacement of human labor. And at some point, it's going to reach a critical mass, like short of these people being able to take part of that growth. But like, I don't understand the logistical path yet for these people to be part of that growth. They're going to get displaced. They're going to look for work. The work doesn't exist. Let's say they don't have the skills to start their own business. They don't have the the pain tolerance to start their own business. They don't have the know-how or the environment and home to start the business. And then that pie grows and grows and grows and grows to where it reaches a critical mass. And then you literally have pitchforks on the streets and you have revolt, right? That to me, that's my biggest black swan event. Like, that's how fundamental this is. Now, the counterbalance to that is like, well, we went through revolutions before, and what ends up happening is you increase the pie for everybody. So the assembly line and the automated factories didn't just put people out of work. There are now 1,000 times more factories that people can work at, right? It's just a different thing. So I don't know. This could be my AI doomerism side coming out of the whole AI robot event. But that, to me, that feels like especially at Hans's point of how quickly things are changing. If we don't have the other side to be able to absorb that quick change, you're gonna have riots on the street.
I have a friend named Steve who couldn't agree with you more. Like, he think Microsoft just laid off 3% of their people. Rumors are that 3% is not just middle management. It's because of AI actually replacing some junior level engineers. I mean, learn to code was the headline 2 years ago, right? Learn to code. Now it's like, dude, I'm talking to some engineers who are leaving their big tech jobs. They're raising money. They're starting these like basically startups that anyone can code, essentially, if you just type in a prompt or whatever. And they're like, dude, coding is done. Like this complex, and it's not literally
it's so
done,
over.
Their argument is like, what's the point of it? It's like prompting. Like it's like, why do we need calculators? Or why do we need the dictionary? Like we know like everything's there, right? You don't need to. So from that perspective, why do we need an encyclopedia when you have ChatGPT? Like, and how many trees have we burned down to build encyclopedias for no, like, if the world is changing, yeah, I think there's an existential problem on what jobs will be created in the world of AI, if any meaningful level of jobs will be created, which I'm sure there will, but will it outpace the level of Uber drivers that are replaced? I don't think so. And so society is going to have to figure out how to deal with that.
Yeah, dude, like the coders and the drivers and the warehouse workers and the factory workers are all going to get displaced at the same time within a 3 to 5 year time frame. That's just the ramp up of the displacement of those workers is going to happen at the same time.
I would disagree about the timeline. I think the software stuff is going to happen ahead. Like, our ability to scale the number of robots necessary to displace, like, there's so many GDP expanding jobs for robots to do that don't even touch human labor for a long time still. Like, until we're talking about tens of millions of robots produced each year, which I don't think is inside of the 5-year time horizon, then you're still just talking about doing jobs that nobody wants to do. So I think now, like, on a grand scale, yes, I think that's the right way to think about it. But I think I think we do have more than 5 years. I think it's a 20-year transition more than a 5-year transition.
That's fair. Okay, so that enables the chance for absorption, right? So then the question becomes
a little bit.
What are we doing to absorb it? Like, and I think that's going to be the
dude. We're gonna have to tax the shit out of these robot companies.
We have to, right?
I don't want to, because I'm going to be a shareholder in them, but like, how else do I don't, dude, if 1 million people lose their jobs as taxi drivers, as Uber drivers, as your point, for capitalism is based on the idea that people believe they have a chance. As soon as it becomes so unequal that people don't think they have a chance, let's get ready to kill Elon Musk, kill Jeff Bezos, like all these big guys, and they know they're not going to survive if everyone's starving and all the money's going to shareholders. So I think there's going to be some type of robot tax, something.
Elon will just hire all the people who don't have jobs to be like, hey, go populate Mars. We'll pay your way.
Dude, Elon's been sharing these tweets recently about, so I think I was 10 years old when I found out the Earth's going to die in like 4 billion years or something like that. You guys know that theory, right? The sun and all this shit.
Yeah.
So Elon's been tweeting a lot more about that recently. And I think he's trying to get people to realize, guys, like scientifically, this Earth will be gone one day. We need to move on. I don't know if we have the willpower to actually be able to get to another planet, but it seems like it matters.
Well, even if it's, not going to Mars, like, I think there is going to be the exciting orthogonal thing to all of this is that we're going to be putting all kinds of stuff up in space here in the not very distant future. Yeah. And so whether it's, doing more stuff on orbit here around the Earth, or going to the moon, or any of these other places that are closer, like, there's going to be a lot more industry, and a lot of all that stuff takes money, and it's going to need a combination of people and robots. And so like there are so many, I think, new sectors of the economy that are going to just appear out of seemingly nowhere over the next 20 years is also going to be huge. And it's like, as long as you're growing into areas where they need at least, 2, 3, 4, 5% of the labor done by humans, we have the ability to expand the overall TAM of what the economy is. Like Thomas Sowell's quote or his point is that economics is always just the practical application of how do we deploy scarce resources. And so if human time or energy, or more importantly, I think this is going to be the bigger factor, is desires. Like, what do humans actually want to do?
Purpose.
Like, that will be a big influencing factor on deciding what work do the robots and the AIs do. And, I think that there are people, like, you don't have to know a whole lot about how to get AI and robots to do what you want it to do to be part of the, human network that decides what the AI and the robots should do. And that, like, everyone kind of de facto, just through the mechanism of the market, becomes a manager of AI and robotic labor and problem solving. And I think you should be able to get to participate in the, upside of your contribution to deciding what work should be done.
The saddest and most, like, I think sad's the wrong word, but I think the painful reality of the situation is that if you really think about the percentage of people that are working just so they can get paid, just so they can live and survive, that is the Venn diagram overlap with what AI will displace. And so these are people that probably don't have a lot of savings. They probably don't have a lot of wealth. They don't have a lot of stock. They're just working so that they can go, they work the 9 to 5, they go home and they just kind of do their thing, right? But they don't really have much besides that, okay? Those are the jobs that are going to get displaced. It's those, like, easy to replicate jobs, because when you have somebody in that job that's doing the work just so they can just go home and be able to, like, hang out, those jobs probably, they're not going to be that difficult to replace, okay? And that's the that is the largest number of people. And so if those people get displaced, what's going to happen? And I'm not talking about intelligence, I'm not talking about anything else, but literally that's just the overlap. And so what is the likelihood that that group of people, okay, are going to be able to transition into this new world smoothly? And that's where I get really fucking uncomfortable, because I don't feel like this society is equipped to be able to absorb that at all.
I personally think there's a relatively straightforward mechanism to help solve for that. If we put regulatory stuff aside, like, I think that people should be, like, Tesla, if we get to the point where Tesla's really making gajillions of Tesla Optimus robots and they're just doing all this work, and Tesla also rolls their own AI that makes the robots do all the stuff that, creates this valuable labor. We should just distribute non-voting shares to literally every human on Earth. Just like everybody gets a share and you all get to participate in the upside of owning this thing that... Wow. Now, I don't want everyone to... it doesn't have to be UBI. Like, it's legitimate owner. It's not, I don't want to give people cash. I want to give people a stake. And then, there's going to be a bunch of people who do then sell those stakes to someone who wants to give them cash in exchange for it, because that's how the market will work. But, it's a lot harder to be mad at someone who's like, hey, if we start to win a whole bunch, then, your net worth expands.
Could that be part of the sovereign wealth fund, where maybe the sovereign wealth fund can start investing non-voting shares in these AI companies, and then that can be rolled into Social Security, et cetera, and that's how you make sure that, and then people can just access that account and be like, oh my God, look, I have $700,000 worth of AI shares in, like, Tesla, Palantir, et cetera, because that's what you have to do if you want to operate in the United States. You have to give, or whatever, or maybe I have a hard time that Tesla, out of the kindness of their heart, will just give away shares to people. But again, Elon has done altruistic things before many times.
It doesn't have to be altruistic. It just has to be realistically pragmatic.
Keep people from revolting.
I don't want to create a I don't want to be so
let
and this
people
is something
also win.
we've seen.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. And Elon has talked about this specifically. If civilization dies, Tesla dies. Like, we have to do the things that keep civilization alive. We have to do the things that make civilization thrive. We have to do the things that make civilization work, and our ability to preserve it persist. And that's why, whatever you think about Elon Musk and his politics, that's his stated reason for participating in the political process the past few years. And so if he's thinking in terms of civilization and Western society and then global community, and making sure that, we don't extinguish ourselves as a species, then of course, if there's even a 10% chance that running hog wild with Tesla Optimus extinguishes the human project, Elon will 100% think, yeah, maybe it's a better idea to just distribute, non-voting ownership shares to all of humanity. And I guarantee, so whether or not that happens with Tesla, I guarantee you something like that happens with the people that go to Mars to create this civilization and settlement.
Sure.
Those people will be de facto, recipients of an ownership stake in the organizations that are doing the Mars settlement.
So that requires literal, realistic pragmatism instead of greed.
Absolutely.
That requires overriding one of the biggest human flaws in history, which is oh no, I need this. Thank you. I need it. Right? It requires overriding that and saying, no, I don't care about the money necessarily. I care about building a better future. And for us to have a better future, we need to make sure people can also win in this future, because if they don't, then it all goes to hell, because every Tesla employee is going to have a target on their back because they're the ones taking everything. Right?
And this is the exact reason why I trust Elon Musk to do that more than any other human being on planet Earth, period. Even the Pope. Because
he's American.
Well, his heritage aside, he has never, Elon's willingness to put all the money that he has on the line to accomplish the grand mission that he has for humanity is you can tell that the money is not the thing that matters to him. You don't put all your money and then some into SpaceX, which has 110% chance of failure, and Tesla, which only has a 90% chance of failure, after you make millions of dollars on, the sale of first Zip2 and then PayPal. If I want more is the fundamental substrate of your human operating system.
Yeah. So, but we need that mentality across every business leader in the future, especially if they are truly displacing
I just think you need enough of the big ones.
That's fair.
Yeah, I also think there has to be some new paradigm by which we assess what value creation in society looks like. And right now it's mainly through an economic lens. But if people are staying at home, taking care of the kids, is that valuable? Do we actually pay for that like some of the European countries do? Is a hedge fund manager supposed to be making more than a teacher? I don't know. But if a hedge fund manager's job is replaced via AI, because maybe AI can manage a portfolio better than a hedge fund manager, but AI can't replace a teacher, does the teacher become more valuable? These are really philosophical questions that we have to figure out. But technology is not stopping. And this train's going forward. The best way, I think, to participate is to be part of that train. And hopefully we can figure out all the smaller stuff into the future.
I agree. Especially if you have the means to participate.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have, much in the way of means, stop, drinking that extra Starbucks this week and, put that into owning something, like I said, even if it's just the NASDAQ, I don't think our audience specifically is made up of the type of people who want to invest in the NASDAQ over Jensen Huang, but, whatever it is, ownership gives you, like, if you want to have influence over what it looks like, being a co-owner is the thing that gives you that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have to have equity. You have to have equity, right?
Wild freaking times, man. Shit. And it feels like it's going to get crazier. Like, again, we're just at the beginning.
Dude, real quick, Tessie 350 after those earnings. I mean, you guys must have been fuck all the Bears, bro.
Yeah. I mean, dude, hey, we've talked about this a lot on the channel. I really think that this goes to your point. The market is valuing AI.
Yeah.
Because if they're valuing Tesla's car sales, you got brand damage concerns. You have a dog shit Q1. You have a soft auto market, okay? And Tesla is over $1 trillion valuation. How are you not valuing artificial intelligence? You have to be valuing artificial. So the question becomes, what are the levers that Tesla is going to pull that will automatically, that will give the valuation the go ahead to say, yeah, okay, now you can go to 1.5. Now you can go to 2. Now you can go to 3. Like, okay, robotaxi, the speed of expansion, right? How quickly can you go into other states? Oh my God, Optimus is doing useful tasks in the company. Q1 2026, this is the first quarter where we realized some COGS savings because of our human to robot process. We were able to, shave off $50 million in COGS. If that makes the stock go up 30%, something because they're like, okay, just more robots.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia wants 1 million robotaxis. I mean, like,
right?
It's a hell of a point. Also, I don't think it's just retail, dude. I don't think retail could have pumped it from 220 to 330.
No, I agree.
At all.
And that's my point. I think the big guns, everybody's now on the same. It seems like we're all on the same page now. It's just a matter of it's like okay, how much are you willing to value? Before it was a fundamental difference. It's like car company versus AI company, tech company. Then it was like okay, tech company versus AI company, and maybe a car company. Now it's like okay, AI company, but where are we going? Like what are we talking about? A million robotaxis next year, 1 million robotaxis in 2030. And that's driving the valuation. So,
and how much are you willing to prepay? Like, how excited are you about those AI prospects, and how much are you willing to pay today for them? Like that really is where we're at.
And from that perspective, that feels non-investment advice. It feels hella cheap because Tesla is the only company that can do millions of robotaxis per year and millions of humanoid robots, if not tens of millions of humanoid robots per year. Because that robot we saw dancing learned with AI, right? And it's built to be scalable, right? It's built to be manufactured in the millions of units per year. Anyway, Amit, I know you got to go. So tell people where they can find you.
Twitter, YouTube. Amit is investing on Twitter, YouTube. I'm sure Farzad will put the link in the description. But really appreciate both of your guys' support. You guys are crushing it. I'm so happy Tesla's doing great for you guys because it deserves to. It's a premier company right now. And Hans, are you gonna meet up with Farzad and test out the taxi in June?
Oh, that is definitely the tentative plan. We don't know when to plan it yet, but yes.
Yeah, we don't have a date.
That is a video I'm so looking forward to. So,
are you coming down?
So my parents are coming. My grandparents are coming from India. In India, so
okay.
In June, like the end of May till July. So it's gonna be a little tough to travel. If I can, I'll let you know. But I really want to see you guys both in a robot. Like it's gonna be so.